Hello dear students, I am going to start with the design of the continuous beams from unit 1. You can see that first is the, let us start with, first is the effective span. According to the provisions of the IS 456-2000 in even 1978, the clause number 22.2, which is on page 34, if you can refer the code if you have, you can see it says it is related to the L by 12 ratio, which says, so for the simply supported beam or slab, the effective span of a member that is not built integrally with its supports shall be taken as clear span plus the effective depth of slab or beam or center to center of supports, whichever is less. So here for the continuous beams, there is I have consolidated the things. You can see it can be, you can read it very clearly. If the support width is less than 1/12 of the clear span, the effective span shall be as per the freely supported beams, that is clear span plus effective depth of the beam or center to center of the supports, whichever is less. In the otherwise case, if the support width is greater than 1/12 of the clear span or 600 mm, whichever is less, the effective span is controlled by 4 features, which says for the end span with one end fixed and other continuous, or the intermediate spans, the effective span shall be the clear span between the supports. For end span with one end free and other continuous, the effective span shall be equal to the clear span plus half the effective depth of the beam, or clear span plus half width of discontinuous support, whichever is less. Third case, in case of spans with the roller or rocker bearings, the effective span shall always be the distance between the center of bearings. And similarly, for last case is in the case of continuous or monolithic in frames, that is the effective span of continuous beams are taken as the center line distance between the members. So first case is we have to define the effective span. So whatever the case may be, we have to choose the effective span either from this first condition or the second among these 4 conditions. Then comes to the span, span with the depth ratio. Now this depends upon the vertical deflection limits and the clause number 23.2 of the code. It says control of deflection. You can refer to this code. There you will find the clause number 23, it is on page 37 of the code. That is clause number 23.2.1, which says the vertical deflection limits may generally be assumed to be satisfied provided the span to depth ratio shall not be greater than the respective values. So there are 3 values for the in the code. First one is the cantilever beam, it should not be greater than 7. For simply supported, it should not be greater than 20. For in our case, in the continuous beams, it should not be greater than 26. So this is the controlled formulation, that span to depth ratio should not be greater than 26. Also it says for spans greater than 10 meters, the value is multiplied by the ratio 10 by span in meters. Then we have to design the beam, the continuous beam, the bending moment and the shear coefficients. So which is given on, you can say, page number 36 of the code, and it is governed by the table number 12 and 13, clause number 22.5. Clause number 22.5, it says the moments, bending moment coefficients and the shear force coefficients, which depends upon the type of the load, that is the dead load plus imposed load. Next is the imposed load, and the conditions are there are 2 types of moments in continuous beams: the span moments as well as the support moments. Span moments we will be having near middle of the end span and at the middle of the interior span. So these are 2 conditions for the span moments. Similarly, there are 2 conditions for the support moments. The first condition is at support next to the end support, and the other conditions at other interior supports. So these are the coefficients. These are well given in the code itself also. So for these cases, for dead load plus imposed load, it is 1/12 and 1/10 for the imposed load for the first condition. Similarly, 1/16, 1/12 for the support moments. So you can see the sign conventions. The moment coefficients for the span moments, it is positive, and for the supports, you all know that it is negative moments. The moments prevail at the top, so it is negative moments. That is why the sign is minus 1/10 minus 1/9 as per the coefficients. Similarly, we have the shear force coefficients. These are for the same conditions. Type of load is dead load and imposed load. At the end supports, at the support next to the end support and at all other interior supports depending upon the span of the continuous beams, how much span it has. So these are all the figures of the shear force coefficients. These are given on page number 36 for table 12 and table number 13. So you can always read that. Clause number 22.5.1 and clause number 22.5.2. You just go through it. Let us start with the design of a continuous beam. The continuous beam, it says a continuous beam of multi-story frame has 3 spans, each of 8 meters. The characteristics dead load is given to us as 10 kN per meter and the characteristics live load is also given to us as 15 kN per meter. Design the critical sections of the beam and sketch the details of the reinforcement using limit state method. Respectively, the grade of concrete and steel are M20 and Fe415. So first step is the data. The first is the effective span, that is L is equal to 8 meters. Dead load has been given to us as 10 kN. Live load is 15 kN. FCK is the characteristic strength of concrete, that is 20 for M20. Similarly, characteristic yield strength of steel is 415 for Fe415 steel. Cross sectional dimensions. So to start with, we will consider the cross sectional dimensions. From that, the span where it was given to us from the limit states of deflection, as we have seen earlier, it is span to depth ratio. Span to depth ratio should not be greater than 26. So this is according to the vertical deflection limits. But there is another consideration, that is limit states of serviceability. Limits of serviceability, it controls that it should the practice says it should be something higher. So span to depth ratio has been taken as initial as value of 10. So if the L is 8 meters and this ratio is, so we can get the depth of the beam. So at the initial stage for these to start with the design, it has been assumed as 800 mm. That is the cross sectional depth. So if we assume the overall depth something higher, so for this case particular design, it has been taken as overall D, capital D, as 900 mm. The effective depth small d 50 mm as the clear cover, so it comes out to be 850 mm. So width has been adopted 300 mm. The effective span to depth ratio, so support width we get as 300 mm. Now there is one thing more. Now for the first case, as we have discussed, effective span to depth ratio. Now we will calculate this ratio, span to depth ratio with respect to 12. So effective span by 12 gives us 641.66. So this has to be compared. This has been calculated with respect to L by 12. So therefore effective span gives us, as it is less than whatever we have assumed 850. So therefore effective span is defined from the first case, which says it is the clear span plus effective depth of the beam or center to center of supports, whichever is less. So if you substitute the values, clear span is 7.7 plus effective depth of the beam we have assumed as 850 mm, or center to center between the supports, whichever is less. So 8 meter has been given us in the question itself. So this comes out to be 8.55 or 8, and whichever is less. So 8 is less, so therefore we have fixed our effective span as 8 meters. Next step is the loads. When you go for the loads, first ever the load is self weight of the beam. Section has been defined to us, that is 900 mm into 300 mm. 25 is the unit weight of concrete, so this gives us 6.75 kN per meter. Similarly, dead load of the beam, it has been defined as 10 kN per meter. So total dead load comes out to be 16.75 kN per meter. When you go for the factor design load, you have to multiply it with a factor of safety, that is 1.5. So you get it as 16.75 into 1.5, that is 5.125 kN per meter. Similarly, live load is 15, you multiply it by the factor of safety 1.5, so you get it as 22.5 kN per meter. So design, bending moment and shear forces. Just before this, I have discussed the clause number 22.5, which gives us, I show you now in the code itself also. So this is table number 12, this is table number 13, and you have your coefficients we have discussed earlier on in this starting case. So when you see that the critical case is the bending moment for the interior supports next to the interior at the end support, you see it is 1 by 10 and 1 by 9 and the negative moments. So when you combine this for dead load as well as the live load, we get this value as 20.8 kilonewton meters. Similarly, you can calculate the positive bending moment, and for the positive bending moment, you see the critical factor is 12 and 10. So when we substitute the values, you get this as 278 kilonewton meters. So this way you can calculate the critical moments, positive and the negative moments as well. Similarly, we can calculate the values of the shear forces. The critical shear force, the critical case is 0.6 times. You can see that here the combination of it is at the support next to the end support, outer side as well as for 0.6 and 0.6 values. So this gives me 22.8.6 kilonewtons the shear force when you substitute the values. Then we have to compare it with the limiting moment of resistance. When you go to the annexure of the code, that is page number 96, annexure G, where it gives us the moment of resistance of rectangular and T sections. So you see that the critical moment, that is MU limiting, it is defined as 0.36 XU max by D, bracket starts 1 minus 0.42 XU max by D into BD square FCK. Here XU max D is defined on page number 70. So when you go that for Fy of, so you can see it very clearly for Fy of on page number 70. So this is your limit state of collapse flexion. For a steel of F415, XU max by D is 0.48. So that means when you substitute the value of XU max by 4D in this MU limiting, you will get the value of MU limiting as 0.138 FCK BD square. You substitute these values, you get the value of MU limiting. If now you know that how to define the under reinforced, over reinforced and balanced section. If your MU is less than MU limiting, the section is always under reinforced section. So here we find that MU is again less than MU limiting. So the case is of under reinforced section. So main reinforcement has to be decided. So we will take both the moments, the negative moment as well as the positive moment. Now this formulation you can again use from the annexure G. It is very clear. MU is equals to 0.87 Fy AST D 1 minus AST into Fy by BD FCK. You substitute the value of Fy, FCK, BD, D, Fy in these values. You know the value of M. We have two cases, positive moment and negative moment. So negative steel can be decided and positive steel can be decided. So you find out both these steels. So here what we find when we calculate these, you can go through the calculations and do it for yourself also. We find that if you provide 20 mm dia bars, we have to provide 4 bars of 20 mm dia bars on the tension side over the supports, and as well as 4 bars of 18 mm dia on the tension face at the mid span. So the steel comes out to be 1256 mm square as the negative steel and 1017 mm square as the positive steel. So these has to be checked for stresses. So we are going to check it for the stresses also. We find tau V as usual we have done earlier also. Vu we have find out the critical value of Vu is 228.6. So using that we know the section. We have the stress, nominal shear stress as 0.896 newtons per mm square. Percentage steel whatever you have provided, it is 1017. This gives us 0.399. So table number 19 it says for the shear stress. So when you go through that, we will find that we just look onto the table 19. It says for a value of TOS, this table 19, it gives you the values of the shear strength as per the concrete provided. So when you look at the table, I just show you the table also. It is on page 73 of the code. So you just go through it depending upon the grade of concrete which we have used as M20 and the percentage steel. Percentage steel we have put it 0.39, let it be 0.4. So we can always interpolate. So this comes out to be TOSI comes out to for M20 as 0.43 for a value of this PT percentage steel as 0.4 approximately. So here you can see that tau V is always greater than tau C. So that means the shear strength has to be, the shear steel reinforcement has to be provided. To provide the shear steel, it is given for the clause number for 40.4 on page 72, design of shear reinforcement. So design of shear reinforcement, it says when tau v exceeds tau c in table 19, shear reinforcement shall be provided either as the vertical stirrups, bent up bars, or maybe inclined stirrups. So here, as per the case, we are going to provide. So that means you need to find out VUS, which is given by VU minus tau c BD. So when you do that, you find out VUS. So it is VU minus tau c BD. You substitute the values and you find out the value. So for VUS, we have to decide either the you can say the bent up bars or the vertical stirrups. Here we are going to provide the vertical stirrups as the beam is there. So from using this formulation, we can find out the value of VUS we know 0.87, Fy we know, ASV is the, you can say, the area of the stirrup which we are going to provide. So D we know. So what we know, don't know SV. So here we can find out the spacing of our 2 legs or 4 legs, whatever you are providing. So here in this particular case, we have provided 2 leg stirrup. For a 2 leg stirrup, ASV, when you substitute these values, you can find out the value of SV. So little less will do with the whole number. So we have provided, let's say, the stirrup at the rate 250 mm center to center. So the area of steel is 8 mm dia steel has been used. So provide 8 mm dia 2 leg stirrup at the rate 250 mm center to center throughout the length of the span. So this is for the checks of the stresses. Then lastly is the check for deflection control. For check for the deflection control, we need to find out the reinforcement percentage of steel which we have provided. So here we have seen that we have provided the steel as 0.398. Now when you go through it, so we need to find out a modification factor. So for modification factor, you go to page number 38 of the code and you see a table there, rather a figure there, which shows us the modification factor for tension reinforcement. Now what it is showing, for a value of Fs, for percentage reinforcement, we are going to get a modification factor, and modification factor will be applied to the span to the depth ratio. So what we have used is, you have used L by D actual, we have used basic as 26, that L by D ratio should not be greater than 26. When you apply the modification factor, as per the availability of the modification factor from page number 38, that figure 4, we will multiply it by, and that should be the L by D maximum. So whatever L by D you have provided should not be greater than L by D maximum. So let's find out. So when you see that, whatever, so now here you look at the code. Basically the design is always done from the code. So see, to find out Fs value, it says Fs value can be calculated as 0.58 into Fy, area of cross section steel required, divided by the area of steel cross section steel provided. So when you do this calculation, you get the value of Fs, which you have the curves on the graph, on the figure. So here the Fs comes out to be 234. When you do the calculations, required was 990, provided has been 1017. So this gives me a value of 234.30 as the Fs. And when you go through the code corresponding to this Fs figures, I have got, let it be Fs as 240. So percentage steel was 0.4. So it was little less than that. So upper value has been used. So I have used this value. This value is 1.4. So my modification factor will come out as 1.4. So I will multiply L by D ratio by 1.4 and I will get it this value as 36.40. So now LD actual is, L is your effective span 8000, D is the effective span, that is 850, which comes out to be 941. So you are much lesser, safer than, it is less than 36.4 which you got maximum. So that means the deflection are within the safe permissible limits. So last step is, we can draw the reinforcement diagram. You can always show this beam. This is a continuous beam of 8 meter span, 3 span beam, and this is the steel which is being continued So here you can see this is the these are the stirrups. It is 8 mm dia legged, 2-legged stirrups which are provided at 250 mm center to center. There are two bars, negative steel and the positive steel. Negative bars has been provided as 4 into, and where it is provided? It is provided at the top of the supports. It is 4 into 20 mm dia bars. Similarly, in the spans, in the center of the span, the steel is 18 bars, 18 mm dia bars, 4 in number. So here you can curtail these bars. For the upper cases, you can provide 2, but at the center, at the supports, it has to be 4. So this is one of the cross section cut at this. So they have provided 4 bars continuously for throughout the 24 meter span. So 4 bars of 20 mm at the top. This is the cross section. 2-legged stirrups. This is the 4 into 18 bars negative steel, or the positive steel which is provided at the bottom of the continuous beam. And this is the cover. So this is the basic design of a continuous beam which can be done. So these are the few pages which will be requiring it while the designing of the continuous beam. So with this we finished with this particular topic of design of the continuous beam. Thank you.